Alright, we're back on gaming. And last week, I want to say this, last week's video, I showed you, and many people online showed everyone, especially in this serious case with gaming journalism, that if you keep a cool and level head, that things, people can listen. You can connect with others. You can see what's going on. You can actually rationalize what's happening, use logic, and show that, look, this situation that we're seeing is uncalled for, and it's been out of hand at this point. We saw that, okay? This week, yeah, completely different story. And I'm going to be honest, I'm a little pissed off about this. I'm quite temperamental today, okay? Because the information that I'm reading right here is ridiculous. Now, we'll put it like this. I want to start off, I'm not going to start with EA, because y'all know I had a lot to say about EA. I'm not going to start off with EA. No. I'm going to start off with what we left off with last week. And I have to talk about this just a little bit, due to the fact that GamerGate, and now hashtag not your shield. Now, for those who don't know what happened, after the previous video, alright, and many other videos that, now that we saw other YouTubers coming out and talking about it, finally, okay, social justice warriors kept saying, like Anita Sarkeesian, Zoe Quinn, and all these other crackpots, because that's what they are crazy. There is something wrong with them, because we know they're trying to use it as a smokescreen. We said this before. We know what GamerGate is about. The integrity of journalism, not gender. And yet they kept trying to push, it's a gender issue. It's a harassment issue. I'm not trying to hear this, alright? And I put it like this because hashtag not your shield came out, and we saw people of every color, ethnicity, gender, it did not matter. They came out and said, oh, no. You are not going to use us as a tool for your own personal profile so that you can advance in whatever you're doing in your job and your agenda. It's not going to work. That's what we saw. And when all those people came out and said that they weren't trying to hear that and that you weren't going to use them, you weren't going to exploit them and their culture and everything that they go through every day so that you can make a living, what did they do? What did people like, Zoe Quinn, all these crazy people who keep pushing this, what did they do? They said, oh, you're just a bunch of sock accounts. No one would really say that. No one of these ethnicities and genders would ever say that. Are you serious? So you're just going to, undermine all those people and announce them as sock accounts? Are you really going to do that? So that you can keep your stance. That is ridiculous. But this is what's going on with Not Your Shield. And now you have all these people coming out. There was just an article not too long ago, and I'm not even going to put it in info bar because it was so disgusting. Okay? Actually, I think it's a troll blog, but I'm not going to link it. But the guy goes on, his title is Not Your Shield, or was it Shut the Fuck Up? Like, you got to be kidding me. So, yeah, shut the fuck up. Goes on about his child. First off, if your title, your header is Shut the Fuck Up, and then you have this whole, my child told me to do all this. First off, you're already wrong. Already. Now, granted, there are a number of us that do headers like that, but we are not professional. Okay? When you were writing blogs on a professional place, there is no way in hell. And he goes on to talk about how he would give a kidney to Zoe Quinn if he could have sex with her. Look, I'm done. See, the thirst. That thirst is real. And speaking of Zoe Quinn, for those, I want to talk about this right now, because for those who did not see what happened yesterday, for everyone is saying, oh, this is about equality and things of that nature, people were editing Zoe Quinn's Wikipedia, right? And others got upset about that. And it wasn't anything bad. These were legit facts that were being put in, okay? So it's not like it was, oh, the whore or whatever. No, it was none of that. There was no slut shaming or anything. No, nothing, okay? So that person was a 14-year-old transgender woman or girl, however you want to put it, it's a minor, okay? Was doxxed, that's right, was doxxed, photos leaked, address leaked, name leaked, and what did Zoe Quinn do? She took the link of the doxx and spread it on Twitter. That's right, being an idiot, she spread on, here's the proof of her putting it on Twitter. And of course, as soon as that happened, she came under fire, and what did she do? Delete the tweet. Because that's what all idiots do when they do something stupid. Delete the tweet thinking it would go away, but it's already been screenshotted. Here's the problem. I will put a link in the info bar that has the timeline of this. I believe it's a Reddit link. It has the timeline of all of this. It does have the docs link, but it tells you warning. Inside, it's a link inside the link. It tells you warning. You do not have to click on this. You don't have to. Okay? So if you want to read the timeline of what's going on, by all means, they have the pictures, they have the links, go ahead. but you don't have to read the docs link if you don't want to. I would suggest not to. I mean, that person is already suffering as it is. A 14-year-old transgender girl, and you want to talk about equality. Yeah, it's only equality and and slut shaming and all these type of things when it works in your favor. But when it comes to actual people stepping out and speaking up, you decide they're just sock accounts. You decide, oh, these people really don't deserve their lives because they're editing my Wikipedia page. So let's dox them. You've got to be kidding me. I don't understand how this woman and her, her fan base, how do you defend something like this? Why isn't she blacklisted yet? She turned around and said, oh, I'm being harassed. And during the process of her being harassed, all right, she put out those donation link pages so that she could get money. And she used that, didn't she? Oh, yeah, she used that to her, but, all this misogyny talk. No, like I said before, this is opportunism. And we're going to start today, okay? Because within our community, we have seen this for years. And it is time that we do something about it. Like I said, we cannot just sit here and talk and talk and talk. It is time we take action. It is time we walk away from people. If we want a better community, it is time that we get the bad people out of it. And if you don't know what I'm talking about cam whores in our community.
Hey guys, it's Christy. If you enjoyed this video, please click like and subscribe.
You're just going to start already with the like and subscribe thing. And before they even see your content, you're going to remind them beginning. You have to be kidding me. In all of my videos, and anybody can attest to this who have been here from day one, I have not asked anyone to subscribe, to like, or whatever. No. I leave that up to the viewer. Why? Because if they like the content, they're eventually going to come back. I'm not going to keep asking or keep begging people. No, that's ridiculous. These are videos to spread information and to get the community together. Not, oh, do this and do... No. No. Even on that video last week, and I'm surprised it got so many views, all right? I am. I thought there would be a lot more backlash than what it was, but clearly it wasn't. I'm actually pretty happy about that because the community showed that they can, handle, adult, mature conversation. It shows. There was a couple of idiots there, but it's fine. You know what I mean? You're always going to have those people who try to troll regardless. However, I didn't tell anyone. I didn't ask anyone. I didn't ask any of you to subscribe to me. I didn't ask any of you to like my video, did I? No. Because it's not about me. It's about the community. If you felt it was a good message, you'll spread it on your own. I don't need to tell you that. But yet we still have this. You know what? Let's keep going, because this just gets out of hand as far as I'm concerned.
Today I want to talk about what I think were the best and the worst games at E3 this year. As you may already know, I far prefer the Xbox One to the PS4, but I've already talked about that, and I promise I'm going to try to be fair-minded about it today. First up on the best list is Evolve. This game is from Turtle Rock Studios, which makes one of my favorites, Left 4 Dead. In the game, 4 hunters face off against one player-controlled monster. This 4 versus 1 gameplay is being heralded as the next generation of multiplayer.
Heralded as the next generation of multiplayer? What? First off, we already see that you're reading a script and you're just pushing yourself out there. Hey, look at me. Look, we're not fooled, okay? The fact is, this is exactly what we're talking about. We see this, and I'll put it like this. Even though I'm using her as an example, there are many people, men and women, who do this. All right? Guys take off their shirts to talk about video games. Seriously, do you really need to do that? To talk about video games. That's stupid. You have women who have these, as you see, ridiculous size breasts, low-cut tops, push them all up just to get your attention. It doesn't even have to do anything about games at this point. You've got to be kidding me. But you know what? Let's keep going to see how stupid this gets. Now, I'm not going to show you all of it because it gets to the point where your brain starts to melt. It does, because it's so bad. But let's keep going just a little bit further before I really lose my temper.
Next on the best list is the new installment of Super Smash Bros. We all know what this game is going to be like, and I think we can all agree, well, most of us anyway, that it's going to be pretty awesome. The only problem is that almost nobody's going to play it, because it's on the Nintendo Wii U, which, in my opinion, is just god-awful. It's the worst system I have ever tried out. I can't stand it. I don't know who owns this thing. When will Nintendo just learn they can earn gazillions of dollars just making games and licensing their characters?
Obviously, she has no idea what the hell she's talking about. Obviously, she hasn't played Nintendo. You should know how their company ethics is when it comes to putting out their characters. I guess you didn't see, was it Hyrule Warriors? Guess you didn't see that, huh? Look, I put it like this. And to say that Nintendo Wii U is the worst system you've ever played, ever got your hands on, should we go back to talk about the 3DO? No? We're not going to talk about that? No. If you go back now as opposed to systems of today, should we talk about the Intellivision? No? ColecoVision? No? The Atari? No? I mean, seriously. If you go back and see the limits of gameplay, and I'm not just talking about graphics. I'm not, as of course, back in the day, graphics weren't going to be that way. But in today's gaming, in today's consoles, and accessibility, and options that they give you, and features that they give you, don't you dare sit here and tell me that the Wii U is the worst out of the bunch. You've got to be, my brain. It's just, you've got to be kidding me. Look, I'm gonna move on because, like I said, this woman has no idea what she's talking about, and of course, this woman has averaged almost 30,000 views. Seriously. And people in the comments, oh, she's great. You've got to be kidding me. Are these the type of people that we let into our community today? Now, don't get me wrong, because we know that anybody can make a video, anyone can upload something and have an opinion. We know this. I'm not taking that right away from her, all right? But as a gaming community, when you've seen people time and time again try to exploit you, and we saw this with, was it that Gamer Girl magazine or whatever? We talked about this before, and how they had the women in the lingerie with, holding controllers, and we know that was a bunch of crap. We know that, all right? But this is one step below it when it comes to, getting that attention. Actually, I would think it actually works more in their favor. It's more effective because you're reaching a broader mass as opposed to a magazine publication. You're reaching a broader mass on YouTube. But yet we're still letting this fly. I put it like this: if Gamer Girl magazine makes all gaming women look bad, these type of cam whores do nothing for women in gaming as well. And yet you don't see Anita Sarkeesian come out and say anything about them. No. The patriarchy, has to be all about the men. And I put it like this. Like I said, if this is about equality, then you talk about equality and not superiority. Stop blaming everyone else. Stop knocking down everyone else to get your point across when it comes to gender. What you should be doing is trying to work together. And when something like this happens, and like I said before, I told you before, I don't like 98% of YouTube, all right? Because of things like this. You have to understand, I don't care how big of a fan base you have. I don't care how many views you get. None of that matters to me, man. If you mess with this community, I'm going to say something to you. I'm going to put you out there. It's that simple. 30,000, almost 30,000 views for this? For this. Come on now. We know exactly what they're doing. Trying to, cater to horny, thirsty men. That's what that is. Don't even get me started on, you know what? Let's keep going. I do want to move on. I want to talk about EA. That's right. Now, for those who don't know, EA, and as you know, they're bullshit. That's right. NHL on a next generation system missing even more content than previously indicated. Now, for those who don't know what's going on the next gen consoles, EA pulled Be a Player. They pulled GM mode. There's a number of things that they pulled in this. And now, gamers have complained. I'll put the link in the info bar, exactly all the options that they pulled that is on the 360 and the PS3. You have to understand that they took away drafting and things of that nature. How do you take this stuff away? Like, how do you do this? Like, come on, man. This is supposed to be GM mode. See, people play NHL these days, if you haven't realized, between the surgence of, the EASHL or whatever it is, the Be a Player mode online and Team Play mode online, that is what sells the game. It has not been, these days, single-player mode. EA, as we know, this is what they do. And the thing is, they're going backwards. As the generations go on, they go backwards. Why? Because they keep cutting costs because they're worried about damn graphics. Or they figured that you Madden Knights, that's right, you Madden Knights, can just be taken for a ride every time. And if you don't believe me, we'll go back to NFL Madden 2004, where you had the draft classes when it, with Michael Vick on the cover, and I'm going to talk about Madden, all right? But understand that when you had the draft classes, if you had NCAA 2004, you could draft your character from college into Madden. That's right, you had these options. You could play multiple people, in one room and things of that nature or online. The thing is, Madden hasn't evolved. If anything, NHL can have online team play, why hasn't Madden? They gave you, what, 2-on-2 at one point? Yeah, that really helps, 2-on-2. Come on. EA has not done any favors through the Madden franchise as late. They got lazy. And the thing is, Madden Knight still bought it out. They still ate it up. They saw the advertising and all this, and we'll talk about that later about advertising, okay? But I want to keep going. For those who don't know, EA takes out Ray Rice in Madden 15. Now look, we talked about Ray Rice in my sports video this week. You know how I feel about Ray Rice, all right? I put it like this. It is wrong for EA to take out Ray Rice in Madden. And I say this because, look at the past. Have they taken out any other players? Did you take out Dante Stallworth when he got drunk and ran over a guy and killed him? No, you didn't take him out of Madden. Did you take out Michael Vick when, with the whole dog killing issue? No, you didn't do that. Matter of fact, after when he came back, you tried to put him back on your cover, but Peyton Hillis outvoted him. No, you didn't talk about that, did you? Did you want to take out Randy Moss after he backed over a meter maid, tried to get away? No. You didn't take that. You didn't take him out, did you? No. Did you take out Des Bryant when he beat up his mom? No. Didn't take him out. Did you take out James Harrison when he beat up his girlfriend? No. Didn't take him out. Did you take out Brandon Marshall after he beat up his girlfriend? No. Didn't take him out. EA, then there's a number of these issues that have happened. And EA never took anyone out. All of a sudden, it's a high profile. It's because you have video evidence now, you want to take them out. It's absolutely ridiculous you were trying to play this moral route. Matter of fact, what about Ray Lewis? We saw what happened with him. Remember, he was on the cover of Madden. EA, should we talk about Tiger Woods after he cheated on his wife and slept with all those women? What did you do? You didn't take him off the cover of his game, did you? No. Instead, you put in, and for those who remember, you put in Rory McIlroy and put him on the cover to caution the blow, to comfort the blow of people who thought, oh, well, we're not going to buy a Tiger Woods game simply because he's just on the cover. If you don't believe me, here it is. But morals, right? Okay, I got some more morals for you, EA. Let's keep going. Sims 4 awful reviews indicate strong backlash. And we've seen this for a while now. And people are telling you, if you want to play The Sims, play Sims 3 then. We already caught them before with, free-to-play Sims, and they had all this DRM riddled on it because they were spying on you. We saw that, okay? This is what EA has done with The Sims for a while now. And I understand Sims fans' complaints, but you gotta stop falling for this type of stuff. Go back and play some old Sims since Sims 4 is so bad. Seriously. I feel bad for you that you purchased it. Sell it. Seriously, they're not doing you any favors at this point. Matter of fact, Sims 4 gay filter will be fixed quickly, EA says. So what they did was they let, words like gay and homophobic, all these slurs and things of that nature. Yeah, apparently they didn't think about that when they put in the game. So now they got to go back and patch it. That's right. Morals, though. You should have thought about this before, Mr. Morals EA, all of a sudden. Matter of fact, we'll keep going, all right? Titanfall ditches Titans for pilot skirmish in a new update. So pretty much, it's Call of Duty. You're taking away the very same thing, that was your hook for Titanfall. The Titans, that was your hook. And now you're taking them away. Are you serious? Yeah, okay. Morals, though. You're going to stand by those morals, EA. Matter of fact, here's one that I think we can all get on board with and say, EA, you're absolutely wrong. Because I'm sure a lot of these things, people will come in and defend them. Well, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, you want something to hang your hat on? Here you go. EA Studios Forum was hacked in 2013, right? The publisher suppressed information for a year. That's right. So, while some people in the article says a small amount of people, their information was compromised, I don't care how many people's information was compromised. It could be one. You didn't let that person know. EA, you're wrong here. But morals, though, the fact is you do not care. You're just doing it to save your own ass. And you should be ashamed of yourself. But that's what EA does. And you know what? This entire thing that we've seen as of late, when it's EA Access, we saw this, okay? When we said, look, gamers, step up and make and make an impact. Don't go into this because you know and I know if EA makes a big splash with this EA Access, other companies are going to follow. And in the coming weeks, what did we see? We saw Activision say, we're watching because we may do our own. Then we saw all these other companies say, we're watching EA as well because we may do our own. So it all rides on EA. And we say, you know what? Hopefully people don't buy into that Madden thing. And what did gamers do? They paid double for Madden. Double! Oh my God. You've got to be kidding me. For the Access, double. It's at this point, I don't understand the mentality of gamers. Is this really an addiction? If so, we will talk about this a little bit later because I want to talk about that. All right? Like I said, we got a lot to talk about today. So if you're not one of those people who don't like to see me like this or don't like to watch long videos, there is the door. I'm just saying. But if you sat through this so far, I'm sure you're okay with it. Now, let's keep going, all right? ESPN, esports fans. We've had this talk before about esports not being a sport. And I said, ESPN, had, televised some video games. And we saw sports fans upset about that, did we not? We saw sports fans say, what is this doing on my ESPN? This isn't a sport and everything. Well, ESPN has come out and said that esports is not a sport. This is what they say. ESPN President John Skipper doesn't consider esports as a sport. He mentioned during the Code Media Series New York conference on Thursday, that's right, categorizing it as competition along with strategy board games. Now, we have talked about this before. I have said before, it should be, esports are pretty much like a board game. People compared it to chess and things of that nature. And we said it's not an active sport. However, what did I say? Instead of arguing about what's a sport and what's not, if you really want esports to become a legit sport, then gamers need to get together and talk to those sponsors and go through the right channels to make it a sport. I said that. You don't even have a players association, just like, the NFL or the NBA. You don't even have that going for you. But yet, you didn't want to talk about that. No, I gave you a chance in the video to talk about that before. I said, anytime you want to have this conversation on what we can do to make it better, we can talk about it. Crickets. Nothing. But if I just came out just blindly and just said, esports is a sport and left it at that, people would jump all over me. How dare you say that? Have you seen Call of Duty? Have you seen Optic? That's what I would get, because I've got it before. If we're going to talk about esports, it is time that we talk about actual regulations, actual rules, things of that nature that need to be upgraded to help the players. Because you can't tell me that players, if you're going to compare them to athletes, and they're betting on the games, which, as we know, you can't do as an athlete. You need to really look at the system. You really need to. If you want this to get bigger than what it is. I understand that League of Legends and Dota, and they have big prizes and things of that nature, but you also have to understand that there's no professionalism. And as long as people are not taking this seriously, like I said, ESPN said, the president said, it's not a sport. It won't be respected as such unless you make the right moves. Now, once again, since I just said that, I'm open to talk about how to do it again. If you really want to make this a sport. Okay? Now, I want to move on. Understand I'm only talking so loud at this point because a lot of people complain, oh, my speakers can't handle it, it's too low. So that's what I'm doing now, if you haven't realized. Now, let's keep going. I want to talk about the FGC real quick. For those who don't know, MKX, Mortal Kombat X, is taking a lot of heat right now due to the fact that you can use old people as projectiles. That's right. You can use old people that are in the background floating around, just like how Injustice did when you can pick up, items and things and throw it at people, projectiles, hit people and damage them. You can use old people in Mortal Kombat X to throw projectiles and hurt other, opponents. Now look, the writer talks about how this happened at Outer World Market, whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, given the story, that's about right. Because that alternate world, they don't care. They're savages in that world. So yeah, they're going to pick up old people and they're going to throw them. We've seen all types of lynchings. We've seen all types of bands of thievery and ninjas and all kinds of stuff. This absolutely makes sense for Mortal Kombat X to actually, if they want to use it. You don't have to use it. It's optional. But you can use it to take old people that are in that world, not on Earth, in Earth realm, in the outer world, and use it against people as a weapon. I actually don't have a problem with that due to the fact that that's actually how the storyline, if you know the storyline, that's actually how it works. They have no morals out there. They're it's every person for themselves. So it kind of makes sense. It makes sense to me on why they would do that. But the guy was saying how he was shocked and, he just had to highlight it in the article. I understand that. But, but you know how that goes. Now, I do want to move on. I want to talk about Destiny. That's right. Destiny, I got to talk about this. This bonus. Destiny bonus for Call of Duty Advanced for pre-orders. That's right. For those who don't know, people who pre-order Destiny, all right? If you pre-order Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, they will give you A color shader. That's right, a color shader. You can color your armor. Ooh, they will give you a color shader and say that you're part of the loyalty program for Destiny. Activision, you should be ashamed of yourself. Because as far as I'm concerned, you should not be holding a color shader hostage because you want someone else to buy another, you want somebody else to buy another product of yours. That's ridiculous. But as long as people keep buying into this stuff, that's all that matters, right? How many people bought Destiny? Because they thought it was cool. Alright, we will talk about Destiny in a minute here. Because Destiny, a lot of people are very upset with Destiny. Before Destiny came out, I was talking to some of you on Twitter, and you're saying, I hope, that this doesn't go wrong. And I had said, well, you have to understand, in MMOs, like Destiny, they're going to have problems. Every MMO has problems in the beginning. They do, alright? So whether it be stress testing, even if you stress test in beta, you're still going to have problems with overload and things of that nature in regular time when you finally buy that finalized product. However, here's the problem with that. The company has come out and said that Destiny isn't an MMO. That's right. Even though we know there's MMO tendencies, they're saying it's not an MMO. And then they said that they were going to bring out expansion packs, which we know go with MMOs. But they're saying it's not an MMO. So now gamers are upset. That's right. No, they're saying you're going to make us pay for more in a game where it's not an MMO. See, it seems like this company wants to make an MMO, but doesn't want all the burdens of an MMO. That's what it seems like. And because of this, we've seen a lot of backlash towards Destiny this week. Matter of fact, Metacritic ratings gave it like a 4 or something like that, just to start off. And now we talk about overhyping your product. We've talked about this for years, all right? We've seen it with EA a lot, especially with Battlefield and Medal of Honor, how much money they threw at it compared to the cost of the actual game that was made. They actually spent more on advertising than the game itself, okay? But same thing with Destiny. We talked about this on Twitter. I said these Destiny commercials while I'm watching the football game are getting very annoying. All right, it makes me want to stay away from it because it's not just a commercial here and there. No, they were literally beating you over the head with it. Destiny, Destiny, Destiny. It was being hyped up as the second coming. We saw this, okay? And then people got the product and was very upset because it didn't meet or exceed expectations. So then gamers got upset and gave it that Metacritic score. Now I will put it like this. I really doubt that game is a 4.8, 4.1, 4.8, whatever. I really doubt that it's that bad. As far as I'm concerned, I would say, because when I'm talking to other people as well who have the game, they're saying the game isn't that bad as what the scores make it seem, but they will say it's not as great as the hype made it seem, so they're giving it a 7, 7.5. That's what they're giving it. Now, you know how I feel about scores, because how do you give something a 7.5 as opposed to a 7.6? We've seen this in the past, all right? When people try to review things and it's just absolutely stupid, a 0.5 to get whatever. As far as I'm concerned, I hate scores. You should just go back to rent it, buy it, keep it forever. You know what I mean? One of those type of things, or don't bother with it whatsoever. But it seems like this is what people do. And when they give their own guidelines on what they mean by scores, it doesn't work. We saw that with Adam Sessler. We saw it, a couple months ago. And then he got destroyed for that. So, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think that Destiny's that bad, but understand that the hype is what made it this bad. When you overhype a product and it doesn't deliver, you're going to have these problems. So we see a lot of articles now, well, Destiny, this is the reason why we should get rid of Metacritic. No, this isn't the reason why we should get rid of Metacritic. All right? Because of, fans being upset. We see a lot of companies of late say, hey, we get tired of, gamers jumping all over us and we're just trying to make our games. No, this is more than just making your games. The developers are making their games. You have to look at the publishers for doing this. Because it's the publishers who are throwing this money. They have their advertising agencies on how much they throw money to them so they can keep pushing these commercials. So they can keep, putting banner ads on websites and things of that nature. That's not the developers' fault, but it all falls back on the developers because of the fact that they made the game. You have to understand that. However, I think the developers, they should do better. If people are really feeling this way about your product, you should do better. You should do an upgrade for it. You should really work on this more than what you should. However, the publishers deserve to take some heat for this. They do. Now, I will talk about Destiny a little bit more, because we are seeing gamers come out, especially one Melanie Mac. I will say this, all right, because her absolutely stupid video, I will say, yes, I'm saying it, all right? When you say that console exclusives are ruining your life, your life, all right? First off, I'm going to chalk that up as you being dramatic. And I say this due to the fact that there's enough drama here on YouTube or on forums. Hell, if you need even more drama, why don't you take your ass out in the outside world? You'll find a lot of it, all right? But for you to say that it's ruining your life, console exclusives, because she's complaining that Destiny is console exclusive and not on the PC. That's what it is, all right? I will put it like this. If it is really ruining your life, a piece of software that you put in an electronic box for entertainment, if it's ruining your life, then you need to take a good, long, hard look at yourself and say, look, it's time that I change my life. There is no way in hell you can sit here and say something like that. Unless you're grabbing for attention. I put it like this. You know how I feel. People, if you're new to this, some of you don't know how I feel about exclusivity. I've said it before, that, things like this, they should go to the PC. They should. Everyone should have a chance to play. We should have cross-platform, servers, so that everyone from Xbox and the Wii, and I'm going to get into that in a minute, alright, and the Wii, and the PlayStation, the PC can play together. Because that's what this is about. That's what our community is about. If we're going to have this network era, that's what it should be about. But as we know, they don't want that. They want every network to stay separate so that they can make money. We know this. And for her to complain about it's not coming to PC, do you understand how many Wii U owners are still waiting for games? They're just sitting by the side for months, actually for years, just sitting there. But you won't talk about that though, right? It's things like this that cause a divide as well. It stirs up the fanboy wars. Well, why is it that it's for the console, not for the PC? PC elitists. And then we sit here and we hear, PC is the master race, and then we see back and forth. That's what they want of you. They want you to fight because they want you to stay distracted. But people like Melanie Mac, she's just going to keep doing that, huh? See, this is what I mean about people not knowing what to say before they think. What do you expect? Don't tell me that's okay. Ruining your life. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Come on. If anyone cannot see, that's just whatever. Okay, whatever. Anyways, I want to move on, and I want to talk about Mega Man X. I mean, not Mega Man X9. The Mighty Number 9. You might as well call it Mega Man. Alright, the Mighty Number 9. For those who have not seen the video, they have shown the online component for the video. That's right. And for those who haven't seen it, I guess we should show that right now so you get a gist of what it's going to look like before you decide to buy this product. So let's check it out.
動けちゃってますけど大丈夫ですか？これは大丈夫です。はい。をかけるとスタートラインが消えてそこに進むことができます。このスパーターゲットがですゲームの核なんですけども、これを弱らせて吸収すると取られた吸収した側にだけ得点が入ります。なのでこれをどんどん取り合って最終的なスコアが競うっていうそんな形になります。また取られて負けるかもうなんか勝てる気がしないまだあいつさん絶対よりうまいですね大きいやつはやっぱ得点高いんで大丈夫だこれ取らないかんですよね台が動いてるからもうどんどんいってしまうんですああもうなんでだろう先に行こうそうか今のはおもろかったよねそうや打たれたらそうなりますわそれはそうや
Look how much fun they're having. Can you sit here and tell me that? When's the last time you've actually sat back and laughed? That's what I'm talking about during competition. Tell me how much. I mean, I'll put this. I understand a lot of us, get frustrated with games and, we say things we don't mean or slip of the tongue. But what about fun? They are having legit fun, and that's what that should be about. That's what all this should be about. Fun. And it seems like people have forgotten that along the way. At the end of the day, this is something supposed to be, you're supposed to be able to laugh at yourself and to blow it all off, laugh it all off, and be able to play again. It's not like if you die, you can't play anymore. You restart and you play again. That's what the beauty of this is. We have grown up with all this. We know this. There is no way in hell that this game, that people should get frustrated with. They shouldn't. All right? I understand playing other Mega Man games. We know some of them can be difficult. Some, they can be tedious. And some people can just, just give up. We know this. However, you have to understand at the end of it all, you have to be able to laugh at yourself. And it's not just about you failing. It's also about, the next time you're going to pick it up and say, hey, look, I can do this. I can beat it. You have to have that confidence. You're going to lose. It's about trial and error. Every time. Every time. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. But I do want to talk a little bit more about the Mighty Number 9. Okay, for those who don't know, Mighty Number 9 backers, you will be receiving Mighty Gunvolt. And for those who don't know what Mighty Gunvolt is an 8-bit classic Mega Man game. That's right. But instead of using Mega Man, you'll be using Mighty Number 9's Beck. So pretty much you're getting Mega Man. That's pretty much what this is, okay? There's 2 ways you can get it, though, okay? Now it says, 1, you have to be a Kickstarter, you can back the Kickstarter. So you'll automatically get it if you back the Kickstarter, okay? Number 2, if you purchase Azir Striker Gunvolt off of the eShop, it's a side note, Mighty Gunvolt is free for a limited time when you buy ASG, okay? So there are the 2 ways that you can get this game. Now I do want to move on. I want to talk about Sony, because Sony is doing something that I'm very much for. For those who don't know, Sony challenges you fans, that's right, you fans, to beat BloodBorne's demo at Tokyo Game Show. Why? Because no one has managed to beat the game in the internal testing meeting, the demo, at all. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, alright, but I will put it like this. They are trying to let gameplay ride. They are challenging you on gameplay, and that's how it should be done. Don't sit here and tell me that we need to keep seeing CG videos and all this. No, show us the game. Show us the gameplay, because that's what's going to matter. And it seems like they're so confident in their gameplay that they're challenging you. Now, we saw this before with Demon Souls and Dark Souls or whatever Souls you want to, bring into the table. All right, they're great games. But we saw when you played those games and you saw those little holograms, those little, blood splatters on the ground, and you saw those people die, and you laughed. And I'm not talking about, falling for traps or things of that nature. No, because that happens, all right? I'm talking about people who just hack and slash constantly like there's no tomorrow, run out of stamina, and just don't know how to fight. Just keep hacking and slashing as if it's just, there's no rules. You have to understand, you're talking to an old school Monster Hunter fan here since 2004. You're supposed to learn those opponents' moves. You're supposed to learn what those opponents' weaknesses do. Don't sit here and tell me that you're just going to hack and slash and think that you're going to get through the game. Unless you're one of those people who uses magic or archery and just sits back from distance and takes out every enemy. Unless you're one of those people, you know what I mean? But you have to catch timing. You have to see what these enemies can do. It's the only way you're going to learn how to fight. To counter, to parry, whatever. It's something that you have to learn. This is why you had so many people saying, oh, it's so hard, it's so hard. And then you had a lot of us saying, it's not really that hard. If you take your time, I can understand falling for traps, though. That kind of sucks, because you don't know. You know what I mean? It kind of sucks, and you got to go back and do it again. But everything is trial and error. That's what most video games are, trial and error. We can go back to Pitfall, where you just ran straight and jumped on a vine and a bunch of pixels. It was still trial and error and timing. You still had to learn it. Because you had to get past your crocodiles, you had to get past your snakes, you had to get past all that stuff. We're talking old school, we're talking the original Pitfall. So these games that we have seen long ago have always had trial and error. Always. There is not one game that does not have trial and error to it. Because that chalks it up to gamer, responsibility. You can mess up in a game and you pay for it. So I'm just saying, there's a lot of hand-holding in every game. Okay? Now, I do want to move on because Sony, that's right, Sony has ceased they're going to cease, PSN for the PSP. That's right, for the PSP, starting September 15th. Now, I will put it like this. I think this is a bad move by Sony, but we see what they're doing. We have seen that the PS Vita has taken it, because you have to understand, every PSP iteration will be cut off PSN except the PS Vita. Why? Because they want you to adapt. They want you to upgrade to their Vita so they can make more sales. For those who don't know, since it's come out, it has taken a hit. Alright? We saw the problem with the Vita. We saw also they had a piracy problem at one point because they were trying to lock down and stop so much piracy. Then the price was too high. They had to drop the price on it. We're seeing all these problems. They're not making much money off of the Vita. So now, what they do, they're going to cut off all the other, older versions of PSP so that you adapt and upgrade. That's a bad move, Sony. That is a really bad move. Besides, you had people who, when they wanted to get the Vita, or even the PSP Go, and they were saying, look, I paid for the UMD for this game, and now you want me to rebuy it again on, on a system? Like, on digitally on the system? That's horrible. Like, Sony, you're going the wrong way about this. You've been doing this with your handhelds for a while now. You've been pretty much disrespecting your fan base with it. This is why you saw so much jailbreaking. But it seems like that doesn't matter now, right? If you just keep pushing out old nostalgia classics, and putting them on the PSN, hoping people will buy them, then it'd be a different story, right? They can play it right to their PSP. People have been doing that for years. You know what I mean? You've been doing it for years before you decide to put on your PSN. But, alright, whatever. Sony, I'm just saying, it's a very bad move. And speaking of more bad news, I should say bad moves, not bad news. It's still bad news. Microsoft is deciding to buy Minecraft. That's right. Their creator, Mojang. They're going to buy them, and this is what I don't understand. Because we've seen this time and time again. Microsoft, EA, all of them, they don't want competition. All right? They must have looked at the numbers when Minecraft just went to Sony. They must have saw the numbers and was just like, all right, we're going to buy them. And we've seen this time and time again. Microsoft has made a lot of bad deals when it comes to buying. Does anybody remember when Microsoft bought Rare and they thought that they had Donkey Kong? Does anyone remember that? Like, this is the thing I'm talking about. If they can't compete, they stifle competition this way, which also stifles innovation. Because you want to prove that you're better than the next when it comes to a company. You want to. But it's not what they're doing anymore. They just buy out smaller companies. And I'm not even saying Mojang's that small of a company. But compared to Microsoft and their money, it's pretty much every company is a small company. Same thing with EA. He bought out a bunch of companies and took away competition. It seems this is something that has to stop. You have to be able to, to let these people thrive and do their thing. It actually hurts our community. It really does. Because you never know. If Minecraft didn't come to the PlayStation at first, could you imagine if Minecraft was bought by Microsoft and then it'd be, Microsoft's exclusive. Could you imagine that? People would be pissed. But then Microsoft saying, well, look, if you want to play it, you got to come deal with us. That's what this is about, right? Like I said, this is not, in this next generation, this new generation, it's not more about coming together as it is keeping us separate and keeping us fighting. It's ridiculous. And of course, as we know, fanboy wars have happened since the Nintendo Sega ages. But it was never this rabid. It was never. I have never seen gamers face to face. I have a Nintendo. I have a Sega. Well, I like Nintendo better. Well, I like Sega better. And then all of a sudden they start calling each other names. And no, we never saw that. It was, okay, so whose house do we go over to play this game? That don't matter to me as long as we're playing. That's all it was. You never saw people on the internet screaming at each other. Well, we didn't have internet back then. But you never saw people in person screaming at each other like that. Never. I hate you because you have this console. Really? You hate a person because they have a console? Or because they have a PC? Like, you never saw that, man. You never did. It's ridiculous. I want to move on. I want some good news, at least. Phantasy Star Online 2. That's right. The Western localization has been delayed. But they are saying it will come out. It will. So, don't worry. It's just been delayed. It will come. Also, one of you fans asked me to talk about Yakuza 5. That's right, about their localization for the Western audience. Sega's come out and said that it is not going to happen because they don't feel as though the audience is big enough. They don't think the fan base is big enough for them to, do all that. Look, Sega, you should know better. If you want, and I'll put it like this, we see this time and time again when it comes with Japanese games, all right, that don't want to, if you have to import them, they don't want to localize them. If you want your fan base to get bigger, you got to bring them over. You have to. I understand you're going to take a hit in money because small fan base at first, but you have to keep doing it. You have to stay persistent. You got to stay consistent if you want a bigger fan base over in the West. I'm just saying, Sega, you're shooting yourselves in the foot with this one. You really are. I feel you are. And they're getting ready to make another Yakuza game. Like I say, it's just, I think that it's just absolutely wrong of them to do that. You have loyal fans here. It is a shame that you're making those fans suffer because you're looking at statistical numbers. These people play your game. They love your game. They've been there from the beginning. You shouldn't do that. That's just absolutely wrong. But then again, as we know, companies aren't always about the fans. Now are they? Now, I want to move on. I want to talk about The Evil Within. Just a little bit of news. It's coming to Europe a few days earlier. That's right. So the link will be in the info bar. At least all these links will be in the info bar. Ubisoft says that it's unimaginable that Assassin's Creed will ever drop in quality. Are you serious? Are you serious? Look, alright, you know what? If you're an Assassin's Creed fan, that's fine. If you want to be a fan, whatever. But for all the milking that they have done with Assassin's Creed, don't ever tell me that it's not going to drop in quality. Alright? When you keep making these type of games, as you know, single story games at this time, alright, it's eventually going to get stale. People are eventually going to walk away from it. Eventually. Alright? It happens. That's why, same thing with movies. That's why they stop at a certain number. They say, or the myth is, after you get to a certain number, it's done. Because people get tired of it. You need to move on and do something new. But they're not going to, because right now it is a cash cow. Everyone wanted a new Rainbow Six. We're finally getting a new Rainbow Six, but look at how many Assassin's Creed games came out before that. Their focus obviously is taking this and running it into the ground. They said before, we saw the article where they talked about they wanted to get up to Assassin's Creed, 10? They wanted to get up to there? So, yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyways, last bit of news. Alright? Video Game Rescue. That's right. For those who don't know, it's Indiegogo. Arcade and Café expansion. These people are asking for more money because they want to add an arcade onto their game store, which gamers, they funded. So, the video will be in the info bar if you want to see what the actual store looks like of their place. They're holding competitions there. Alright, and this is in Jacksonville, Florida. They're holding competitions there. They just want to expand on what they already have. Okay? And I'm done with this. I don't need this. I really don't. People understand that at the end of all this, if you've gotten to the end of all this, I should say, you have to understand that today, this week, has been a really bad week when it comes to our community. It just has. And like I said, if you want our community to get better, you're going to have to start throwing some people out. You are. Because they don't have your best interest. We've seen people time and time again, these cam whores, and it really makes me mad to see something like that. It really does. Because as we know, that's not what gaming is about. We know that. I know a lot of people like to talk about entertainment, and you have to understand there's a fine line between entertainment and the news. And when you have people, personalities, everyone says they're a personality, when you have personalities who try to give you the news or their opinion, they become the news, and it becomes a problem. And then I believe, after watching Total Biscuit's video, when he talked about, and it really struck a chord in me, was when he talked about people being camera friendly. That's what these companies, bank on these days. And I couldn't help but feel a certain way when he talked about being, camera friendly, because it's kind of sad that we're worried about what people look like. As we know, that's how entertainment is. Entertainment. People are worried about, what a person looks like as opposed to the news that you are digesting, that they are pumping out to you. Because that's the most important thing. I don't care if the person looked like a foot, alright? If that person has something to say and it's good, I'm going to listen. Like I said, that's what gaming has taught us. We play as whatever, right? Like I said, Resident Evil, we played as Tofu. Would you denounce that he's a bad character because it's Tofu? I mean, people had fun back then, It just goes to show you that you have to fit a certain image, or a certain lifestyle, or you have to be a certain way, or you have to talk a certain way in order to fit in this gaming thing. Remind you, our gaming community, we accepted anybody who didn't fit, the popular, the norm at the time. We accepted anybody. Didn't matter if you had red hair or ginger. None of that mattered. None of it did. We saw people, we played with them, we got to know them. That was it. These days, you got people who alienate people simply because the color of their skin or their gender. And there are people who are out there like that. It's not the majority. It is not the majority. But there are people who are still in this community who are like that. And then you say, well, it's their opinion. They have the right. No. Not when it oppresses others. No. Seriously, who would you rather listen to? Would you rather, who's getting more views at this point? Alright? The chick with the huge rack? Or me? She is. Am I mad at the fact that? No, I'm mad at the fact that it's cam whoring. Not the fact that not the fact that she's giving you logical explanation. Not the fact that she's giving you good information. No. If she was giving you good information, I wouldn't give a damn. But we all know what she was doing there. Don't even try to play that game. Okay? It goes to show you that this does matter when it comes to it. And you know what? Like I said, if the industry All right, because if you don't fit a certain standard, because as we saw, everyone that's involved in this whole thing that we've seen as of late has been what? A bunch of middle-class hipsters. That's what we've seen. But it goes to show you, if you don't fit a certain quota, a certain standard, there is a problem. If the industry is going to be cleaned up, and like I said, it's not just our community, but the industry in general. If they're talking about big changes, you need to do it the right way. Don't tell me that that's okay. No way. Especially if you look at statistical numbers, once again, on who plays more games. So, there you have it. As far as I'm concerned, like I said, I'm still a little upset of what we've seen as of late, but it goes to show you, especially with the articles that we're seeing, gamers are getting the best of all this, GamerGate and all that, and I keep thinking to myself, it's not about who's winning, because at the end, you still want to be able to connect. Like I said, I'm not going to, like I said, I told y'all last week, those are the sites I'm staying away from, and I'm going to stay away from them. And if someone else slips up, I'll stay away from them as well. That's how I work. That's how I operate, because I don't appreciate that. And no, an apology isn't enough. It's not like this is an isolated incident. This is something that's been going on for a long time. And the fact that they reacted this way for weeks should show you that it's not about taking an apology. At this point, people need to be fired. People need to be blacklisted. It is ridiculous. It's uncalled for. And you and I both know it doesn't help the industry or our community.